it's always something with the Chargers. And they've pulled it together, and they've squeaked in as the 5 seed. It's great. It's not even a squeak. They're the 5 seed. But they weren't great wire to wire. Congratulations on getting there, but it was a rocky ride, to say the least, for the Chargers, Peter.
Well, when I saw that, I got a kick out of it because, to me, your social media team is kind of writing a check now that they're telling the team you better cash it, because they're saying, how dare you question our great team? And Mike, look, there's a reason that the Chargers were questioned, and it goes beyond losing 38-10 to the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 3 when the Jaguars were not the Jaguars yet, okay? It goes to the fact that the Los Angeles Chargers won 10 games this year. The best record of any of those 10 teams is 9-8. And so, look, is it okay if we wait to see this team that really has not had what I would call a signature win this year? Is it okay to wait and to say, and look, you're talking to a guy who picked him number 2 entering the season. I thought the Chargers were going to make a huge jump from 9-8 this year to winning the division, in essence, back in May when I picked my 1-32. But look, the Chargers are a good team, all right? But we'll see how far they can go. And especially we'll see this week because we don't know if Mike Williams is going to play. The proverbial game time decision. And this is the player, with all due respect to Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen, to me, when I watch the Chargers play, if Mike Williams is healthy and productive, they play with anybody in football. And if he's not, then they're in a little bit of trouble.
And Peter, his injury, the product of the ultimate unforced error by a coach to have these guys in a game that was meaningless. They weren't going to go up or down. They knew they were locked in at number 5, so they decide to play their starters for a lot of the game. Deep into the second half, Keenan Allen was catching touchdown passes from Chase Daniel. Why is he still out there, and Keenan Allen? And I don't accept Brandon Staley's explanation. We only got 48 guys. We got to put those guys out there. There's a way to empty the bench and keep your most important players in bubble wrap, and he didn't do it with Mike Williams. Williams didn't practice at all this week. I think making him questionable is face-saving. I think, and this, I don't know this, my gut tells me he's not playing, but they called him questionable just so Brandon Staley doesn't get dragged for the next 2 days over playing him on Sunday and causing that back injury by having him out on the field. But again, it's always something. And you're right, Peter. That is one hell of a check for the excellent social media team to write when they go on the road to play a team that beat them in their own building 38-10 back in week 3. And I know it was a long time ago, but it was still 38-10. It's the same basic roster on both sides of the ball. And it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a 61-yard field goal as the gun went off. It was 38-10. All right, and that's the game that we have on NBC on Saturday night. The Chargers are still 2.5-point favorites in this one. Maybe the bookies saw that hype video and decided that they were making a good point. I don't get it. If I'm Doug Peterson, I got my guys extra lathered up. We went out there and we kicked the you-know-what out of this team, 38-10. They're coming to our place and we're underdogs. That's manna from heaven for a head coach who's trying to get his guys even more fired up than they otherwise would be.
I am not a gambler, and so I can't tell you what motivates lines to be certain ways. But there have been a few this year that have really made me be a little surprised. This is certainly one of them. And again, I think that it has to do with the fact that, this game showcases 2 excellent quarterbacks. Excellent. And they're both playing very, very well right now. And Mike, who knows? But all I can say is Jacksonville playing at home with a hot team I like Jacksonville in this game. And again, I don't have anything other than an absolute gut feeling. I would not put 5 cents down on this game or any other game in the NFL. But I think right now Jacksonville can do more. And Mike, I want to just say one other thing. While the Chargers have been dealing a lot this year with injuries, especially to their defense, if you look at what's happened to the Jacksonville defense, you watched last week where Trayvon Walker, who I widely derided as the first pick in this draft, a guy who in the 2 years that he played almost all the time at Georgia, never made first or second team All SEC, never mind first or second team All America, and he got picked first in the draft. Trayvon Walker is sticking it up my rear end right now because he was great last week. Josh Allen was great last week on the other side. That is a tough defensive front. Look at Roy Robertson Harris, how good he's been. I don't know. To me, I look at the Jaguars. I just like the Jaguars a lot in this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I am surprised they're underdogs, and I think it plays into their hands. And that quarterback matchup fascinates me too, Peter, because you've got the two best by far in the NFL in Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. You've got Joe Burrow just a little bit under them and always threatening to catch them. But between Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence, I feel like whoever wins this game starts to build the case to get toward the same cut as Joe Burrow. Not that they would catch Burrow, but we just kind of thought Justin Herbert was that guy. And is it him? Is it the team? Is it the coaching? What is it? But this is an opportunity for whoever wins to kind of push himself up toward the top of the stack, not just among young quarterbacks, but among the entire NFL. One last point on this game too, Peter. And I got a lot of respect for what Brandon Staley has done as a head coach, but there's just been enough this year. And I don't know if you've heard the same things I've heard, but I get the sense that, you know, there's some available coaches out there that would very much like that job to come open. And it's not as if those coaches are going to be the ones to stick the knife in Brandon Staley's back. They have people to do that for them who communicate directly with the Chargers. I just wonder if the Chargers flame out and if there's this rash of go for it on fourth down and it blows up in their face or some other coaching decision gone bad, kind of like the Mike McCarthy analysis. If the loss of this game traces right back to Brandon Staley, I just wonder what happens next week. I'm not saying anything could or should or would. I just know from what I'm hearing out there from some of these A-list coaches that are available, and you don't hear it from them, you hear it kind of percolate. I just wonder if the organization would say, we got this great young quarterback, we got to do more with him.
Maybe, but I think a lot of that, Mike, this year anyway, has come down to the availability or lack thereof of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. And I think they've done very well on offense given their limitations. You know, I think if you score in the mid-20s, and I think they've averaged 24, 25 points a game this year, especially with the injuries they've had, and being able to use Austin Eckler. You know, Mike, we all had to fill out our all-pro teams this year, and there were a few things that I'm sure when I put them in my column on Monday that people are going to say, what in the world are you talking about? But I'll give you one example. Austin Eckler is my second team running back. Obviously, Josh Jacobs was number one. But I put Austin Eckler ahead of Nick Chubb, ahead of Derrick Henry, ahead of Joe Mixon. And one of the reasons I did that, I think it's easy to look at, he didn't rush for 1,000 yards. But I think if you look at what Austin Eckler did on all of his touches, Austin Eckler with 107 catches this year, and when you are approaching 1,700 yards of total offense, you're basically giving your team 100 yards a game. And you're doing it when everybody on defense knows you're coming. So to me, I think Austin Eckler has been a huge piece that the Chargers have really used well this year, maybe overused to some degree. He's going to need a nice long vacation whenever this season ends. But, I would be surprised about Staley, like probably really surprised. And Mike, one other thing about, let's compare the Cowboys and the Chargers. Jerry Jones, to me, basically would have a blank check to go after whoever he wants. And obviously we all think he would want Sean Payton. I'm not sure the Chargers have the same blank check mentality about a coach. And whereas there are probably some teams out there this offseason, like, for instance, Carolina with David Tepper's money, Denver with the Walton family money, where they're going to be able to pay a coach whatever they want to pay him. 18 million, 20 million. And last week I heard there are 5 coaches in the 15 million and above range average per year. So that means that, to me, if you're Sean Payton, that's where your price tag is about going to start. And so I wonder, and I don't know this, and I'm sure if they wanted him bad enough, they'd do whatever it took. But I wonder if the Chargers are going to have the same largesse as, say, the Waltons or David Tepper in Carolina.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.